Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is the real topic that I wanted to discuss earlier, but I end up addressing a couple of things, right? And when I was speaking on the al-wala wal-bara and us having a moral standard and how we carry ourselves as Muslims. So today, man, it was a situation where I was looking at how we've been programmed in America. And I'm going to show y'all how. So I made this little video earlier today, and I want to show it because I wanted to add it on here because Quran ayats go through my head, man, or hadiths, when people be talking to me and certain situations be happening, right? So basically I'm at the grocery store, and I didn't necessarily grow up with her, but a girl, we went to school together, but we didn't necessarily, we would be friends of friends, and sometimes we would end up at parties or little get-togethers and we would be there, but we never really had any type of strong friendship or relationship. We was cordial. We spoke, we knew each other, we've been in the same places a lot of times. We just wasn't, friends. So they seen me in the store and haven't seen me in years. So let me show you this video of me shopping. And because today was Thanksgiving, and to show how we've been programmed so much, even with Thanksgiving, and the way to pursue relationships and things like that. And maybe it's me looking from an Islamic point of view, but let me show y'all this video first and then show our discussion, man. And I realize, man, like even myself, sometimes we need to just unlearn certain things. So, I mean, we really have been programmed. Like, we really have. Okay, look at this real quick. Hold on, Doc Keek, so I can pull up the video. Okay, look at this.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I'm out here on Thanksgiving, right? In the store. And this lady looked at my cart and said to me, "You ain't gonna get any real food." Let me show y'all what I got in here. This right here to clean my foods. But they say, you ain't gonna get any real food. When this is the real food, Alhamdulillah, subhanallah, astaghfirullah.
Okay, so the way the conversation come about, like as you can see in my cart, I got pineapples, bananas, red grapefruit, seeded red grove grapes, some key limes, some lemons, some probiotic, good yogurts with active bacteria to help, flush your stomach, and then some parsley and cilantro to, to add to my juices when I juice to help your kidneys function on a high level and pull heavy metals from your system. The heavy metals that sometimes get in our system from eating from like forks and spoons, that's metal. And sometimes, like when some people, when they be cooking, they might cook with a pot or something, and they use a fork and they use it on a pot and they scrape it, and sometimes those metals get in the food. So sometimes when you eat from certain restaurants or like you ordering food, sometimes we just get metals in our system from different things. So I juice with cilantro. It pulls heavy metals from your system, right? So and some pistachios and some sunflower seeds. So when she see me, she came up to me and was like, because it's Thanksgiving. So she came up to me and was like, You ain't got no woman at home cooking for you. Of course, hi, I ain't seen you in a minute, this and that. So it was like, you ain't got no woman at home cooking for you. So I said, I was like, well, I don't really need a woman to cook for me, because you're looking at the stuff, right? A woman really only for me, all she really had to do is just peel me, if she want to do something for me, she could peel me a grapefruit, peel a banana, and wash off some grapes, and put them in a bowl. Throw me some seeds in there. You know what I'm saying? Some pistachios or something. Glass of coconut water. You know what I'm saying? Because I had the coconut water too. So she looked at me and was like, but that's not real food. I mean real food. You don't got no woman cooking, real food at home today? Now, this to show the programming. Because some women have been taught, or it's like a saying, an old saying, like the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and some of the things you cook a man a good meal. And I'm not saying that stuff isn't right. But I gave you the key to the door in the beginning. Okay? But that's not real food. It's the holidays. Right? I don't need a woman to cook for me. I don't really eat cooked food like that. But she's steady trying to convince me, well, you ain't going to no family house, you ain't doing nothing, you gotta eat somewhere. You gonna pick up a plate from your mom's? Right? I'm like, no, I ain't doing none of that. So she was like, well, me and, named a few people that I went to school with, a couple of couples. Well, we getting together. You should come over and I'll personally fix your plate, and there's not going to be any pork in it. And she's in her cart, she got some stuff to make some cake and a bunch of macaroni. She got all these boxes of macaronis and a bunch of cheese, a bunch of different cheeses, and some eggs. So she making some macaroni and cheese, some pies and some cakes. A bunch of sweets and all this other little stuff. Now, all this junk, unhealthy food. But she look at what I have in my cart and say, that's not real food. See, this is the programming that we have picked up in America due to them turning the world into consumers. Even making up holidays for people to overindulge in. Right? This isn't real food, but this is. And although I'm telling her, a woman really don't have to cook for me. Peel me a grapefruit if you want to do something. Peel a grapefruit. Peel a banana. Wash off some grapes. But, like the and I said this to her jokingly, like, because she's steady trying to convince me and figure out how to get me to eat some of her food. Cooking the way. Now, I'm not speaking from an arrogant position. She's trying to reel me in. By the end of the conversation, it all comes out. But I see it from the beginning. Like I say, I know her. You know what I'm saying? We've been in some of the same places. So it's like, well, you could come, this and that. I'll personally fix your plate. I'll make sure there's no pork on it. I ain't making a macaroni and cheese, and I'm going to make this and that. So I was like, that's cool. I appreciate the generosity, but, I'm going to have to pass. She was like, well, we going to be drinking, and there's going to be this. We're going to have a good time. You should come. So she was like, what is it? Like, you ain't doing nothing. You said you ain't going to your mother's. You said there ain't no woman cooking for you or this and that. And I said, no, I said a woman doesn't have to cook for me. So she was like, well, is it a woman at home? Is anybody, you going to have some people come over your house? Is you going to have some people come to your house? So I was like, no, I'm cool. I'm going to sit back, man. I'm on a little cleanse, right? So she was like, oh, so you one of those health guys and this and that. I was like, I ain't saying that, but I just try to eat healthy every once in a while. I try to eat healthy more than I eat unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? To leverage out the balance, right? So she was like, man, I don't think I'd be able to live if I ate like that. You know what I'm saying? So as she steady talking to me and I'm walking, she gets out her phone and start trying to find me on social media. Right? So she was like, well, you don't have any social media? Because I guess she didn't want to ask for my phone number. Or didn't want to be direct, like, here's my phone number in case you change your mind. We're going to be over here and you come out. So she was like, you don't got any social media? So instead of lying and saying no, because I didn't want to lie, I just said, you won't be able to find me on social media. Almost like saying I don't have any. You won't be able to find me on social media because my name is in Arabic. So I just worded it that way. So it was like, oh, well, dang, like, what do you do? Like, it's the holidays. You shouldn't be by yourself and this and that. Like, do you be bored at home? You don't do nothing? You never have company? So, I'm laughing because I laugh a lot. So, I won't continue the rest of it, but it made me think of the Quran ayat while I'm listening to her and this and that. And seeing how what she's inviting me to, where they're drinking, there's going to be some smoking, they're going to be playing cards, and it's actually a couple of males, a couple of brothers that's going to be there that, I'm really pretty cool with, that we grew up with, and some of the females that's there. Like I said, we went to school together and stuff, right? But looking at all the junk and stuff that she had in her cart, and all this healthy stuff, man, and all this overindulging, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? People, we love our mac and cheese, we love our greens, we love our cakes and sweet potatoes and sweet potato pie and all that, and our turkeys, right? But the fruit and stuff that I got, this isn't real food. But 90% of what they're about to eat has absolutely no nutritional value at all. It doesn't have any nutritional value. You see what I'm saying? And me chilling, coming home, chilling, relaxing, not breathing a bunch of marijuana smoke, a bunch of vape smoke, listening to a whole bunch of low vibrational conversation, right? Anybody who understands vibrating high and vibrating low vibrational conversation. And like I say, conversating with her, I see you trying to get to the door. And just to see your level of thinking as you testing me and trying to see what's to me, I give you the key. You don't even have to cook for me. A woman don't have to cook for me. If she want to do something and fix me something to eat, she could peel me a grapefruit, wash me off some grapes, some bananas, and put it in a bowl just to see if she absorbed that aspect. But instead of listening to me tell her what I would be pleased with, she's fixated on what she think will please me, because this may be what worked with other people that she reeled in, and other people that she moved and maneuvered with. And it's saying a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. But some of us just like grapefruits and pineapples and bananas and apples and oranges. That's still through our stomach. But she didn't absorb that. So instead of listening to what would please me, right? And I told her when she would like she couldn't accept it. Like, you gotta have a woman at home cooking for you. And I said, this is what I said. I said, well, you know how these modern women is. A little jig at her. You know how some of the modern women is, man. If I say all I need for you is just to peel me a grapefruit and wash me off some grapes or something and put them in a bowl, I'll be fine. The modern woman is going to be like, this is going to be like a cultural shock to them. Oh my God, I don't know how to please you. I don't know what to do for you. I'm going to be inadequate. Because instead of accepting what I'm telling her, she's trying to force all of this stuff off on me. Now, let's say I could have been halfway, due to certain circumstances, lightweight interested. And maybe could have did this and that, but through my head, I would have said, she doesn't lift. She's not receptive because she's focused on what she's trying to get to. And she's already has in her head what's going to work on me, because this is what works on me, and this is the programming of society. Instead of listening to the simple thing that I said, this would be that. So I'm going to look at that and be like, okay, she ain't too receptive. Because, she's already cold. She already got more game than the law allowed, because this is how she duped all the men that she feel like she duped. I got them in my web and used them, even if she was abused. And like I said, I'm not speaking judgmental. So that programming, even for Thanksgiving, where people, it's actually part of the culture of America. When Thanksgiving comes, it's cool, it's about family, but to get together and overindulge in food that has no nutritional value, and then drink a lot of alcohol and a lot of beers and smoke, and it's fine, have a good time. But for the person who sit back, and for the people, not just referring to myself, everybody else who's sitting down eating clean, living clean, and trying to be on a good, healthier side of life, and really caring about their condition, we the crazy people. She literally said, I don't think I would be able to live if I ate like that. Like, how you going to get full off of that? But see, some people who don't eat right, they can't understand nutritional rich foods. I can eat a half a pineapple, cut up half a pineapple, and an apple and a few pistachios, and be stuffed with some coconut water. Why? Because it has a lot of nutritional value. That wouldn't make no sense to them. And then sometimes with people who eat a whole steak and eat a whole baked potato and then eat a whole salad and then eat some bread and and then drink a big glass of sweet tea or a big glass of soda or a big glass of Kool-Aid, some sugary drink, and may have some other, different things that they sip throughout the day, and then still have to snack and different things on. They can't understand that because the majority of what they ate has no nutritional value. It's just fillers. It make you feel full. But this is the programming. And some people eat like that every day, all day. And they have, like you see people, man, they have health issues. When I leave from there, so like wallahi, and this is all setting it up, man. When I leave from there, I go to my mother's house. So it's 2 Quran ayats I'm going to discuss. I stop by my mother's house for a minute. Right? And my pops, he's on oxygen, and may Allah protect me from all of this. He on oxygen. He been on oxygen for a while. He got half a lung. He done had to have his gallbladder removed. He done had several surgeries. So he's sitting down and he's talking to me about, he come out the room and he was like, look at these blood. He always call me blood. Right? He's like, look at these blood. And he had these, some glasses on. So I was like, man, when you have to start wearing them? So basically he's telling me about at night how he sees, on one side he see a bunch of red lights, and then on the other side he see a bunch of blue lights. So he said he Googled it and this and that. But long story short, a lot of the issues and a lot of the surgeries and the different things that he done had to go through is based off of the food and liquids that he put in his body. My mom Dukes, diabetes and different things. And I'm talking about for years. I've seen them both had to get up and, in the morning, start their day off with 6, 7 different pills. Cholesterol, blood, low blood pressures, be having low blood sugar, low blood pressure, cholesterols, just all these different things, man. But, a lot of times when they would go to the doctor, because like he used to love Pepsis, he used to love Pops, still do. And, when things was going on and like his gallbladder and different things was acting up, they would tell him, you need to stop drinking all that pop. You need to start drinking more water. You need to do that. This is what the doctors would tell them. And I was talking to a Muslim doctor when COVID came around. Well, alhamdulillah, I was actually able to sit with Wallahi, and he was an African. He was from Africa, and he had came over here, and he was a doctor. And he was talking to me about the COVID shots, and we was talking about different things, and we was talking about the diets, and I was telling him some of the videos I seen in Africa where they was putting all this citrus stuff and these pills, and they was boiling them in a big pot of water, and then they would take a cover and put it over their head and let the steam come up, and then all this mucus and all this stuff, man, would come out their throat and out their nose. And I was like, they been treating themselves naturally with COVID and this and that. So he started telling me little different things and which one was the better one, and which one had been tested more. He put me on game because we both Muslim. So he told me, because we was talking about, we got to talking about how food, eating right, can change a lot of the stuff that's going on. And he said, a lot of people, we give them the medicine, but we do tell them to change their diet. See, we're not giving them the medicine for them to be on the medicine forever. We give them the medicine as a temporary fix until they change their diet so that they could change their condition. But we do know that a lot of people aren't going to change their diet if they got a pill that they feel like it's going to make them do right. But if we don't give them the pill to maintain their life, and then they don't change, their sickness get worse. They don't change their diet at all. So it's not like we don't know that eating healthy and changing your diet fix people. So we're not just trying to push pills, but the pills is an emergency and temporary fix until they change their diet. But we do know that people aren't going to change their diet in this damn time. So dude gave me that jewel, man, as a Muslim doctor, man. And so me looking at that and talking to my pops, man, and remembering, man, as a kid, what kind of changed me. I had an uncle, man, who had a triple bypass surgery. So I had to take my grandmother. We had to drive to another city over, because they ended up having to fly him on a helicopter to another hospital. So by the time we drove and get over there, they had him knocked out and ready for surgery. So we get in the room, and I got to take my grandmother in there to sign some papers, and to see him laid out, his tongue hanging out his mouth and stuff, man. Well, they getting ready to give him this surgery, man, a triple bypass. And I remember, he was my favorite uncle because he was my key to the streets. He was a way, way older, my mother older brother. So, a lot of people who ever fell into the game of hustling, we all had that old uncle who played in the streets or whatever. Well, not everybody, but some of us. And I remember my grandmother telling me, you walk down the same roads that he walked down. Which her way of telling me, if you keep on living like you living, you're going to end up like him. So it was those lifestyle changes. So looking at my pops, man, and my mom's, and then thinking about me leaving the store, these Quran ayats, the first Quran ayat, from talking to the sister and seeing her car and seeing mine and all this other stuff, right? I thought about the Quran ayats where Allah told us how to eat. Then as I'm still carrying on with that and reflecting on it, when I go to stop by my mom's for a minute, it was like, look at the path of the people who chose it before you. Right? And then when he telling me about his eyes, of course I'm feeling bad for him, but I make the dua for Allah to protect me from that. But I know it's all about changing my diet and sticking to a certain way of diet. Some people, and if you reflect, and like I said, it made me look at my grandmother, my uncle, and because they the ones, sometimes as a child, your eating habits is generally set by your parents. So if you look at the path that they chose before you, and they have different issues and health issues, and you know that it was due to how they was eating and the stuff that they put in your body, it lets you know there's things that you should change. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why you see a lot of people, man. Like, I was listening to one of these herbalists, and they was like, a lot of people, they'll tell you that some of these things be hereditary. High blood pressure, you inheriting high blood pressure because like do you have a history of high blood pressure? Do you have a history of diabetes in your family? The doctors never ask you that. But a lot of times it's not that it's hereditary because it's in the blood. It's hereditary because you eat the same stuff that they ate. Y'all eating the exact same food. The same thing that gave the first person in your family high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, low blood pressure, low blood sugars. The very first person in the family that ever got that fed the next people in the family the exact same foods. And then when they had children, they fed their family and taught them how to eat the exact same way. So sometimes, man, you have to look at the path, man, of the people that came before you in a whole lot of ways, man, in dietary, in they eating habits. Because a person looked at my food and like, I'm at work one day and, I was talking to another Muslim about this at that particular time. I had ate 5 blood oranges. And this white guy, this supervisor, he can't even walk. Wallahi, his knee went out. So he's stumbling across the break room, getting ready to fall on the floor, and he falls on the break table. And I felt bad because I was laughing because wallahi, I thought he was trying to dance. It looked like he was trying to dance, but his knee was going out. So when he fell up on the table, and I seen it was his knee, I was like, oh wow! So I stopped laughing. But you got in mind, I was in a class, so I had my headphones on, so I could just see him. I can't hear him. So when he hit my table, I pulled one of the earpieces out, and he was like, oh, my knee, this and that. So then he seen my plate, and he was like, dang, dude, but the cuss word, dang, dude, how many freaking oranges did you eat? So I laughed, and I was like, 5. He was like, man, 5 freaking oranges? Like it was crazy. But see, if I had ate a whole meat lover's pizza, they would applaud that. Sausage, pepperoni, Canadian bacon, just fat swine and everything. It would have been a 5 freaking oranges. And I was stuffed. 5 freaking oranges, yeah. And some coconut water. And got more energy than everybody in this room. And they drinking Monster drinks, Red Bulls, them little 5-hour shots or whatever they be in those little bitty jars thing. And they just eating a bunch of garbage, man. I eat bad sometimes. I might eat bad for a whole week. But then I'm going to go 2 days on just straight liquids, herbal teas, chlorophyll waters, and I'm going to flush my system. And I'm going to flush my liver and my gallbladder and my kidneys when I eat bad like that. And then when my stomach get empty like that, I will eat some good probiotic yogurts to start to reset my gut bacteria. You know what I'm saying? I don't even like yogurt. But I get some good probiotic, really good, clean, expensive yogurts. And I look at the ingredients and it ain't got a bunch of goop in it like some of these other yogurts. But what it does for my stomach, man, is amazing. And then I hit the herbal teas to flush everything through my kidneys and help aid and assist it. So this Quran ayat, I already spoke on the one, like, just looking at it, the food thing, and looking at my pops, man, and seeing everything he going through, but he still won't change the way he eat. He still ain't never changed. And I seen him go from one thing to the other. And like some of the stuff with the lungs, because he was a heavy cigarette smoker, when he was going to the doctor, they kept telling him, you're going to have to quit smoking. He didn't do it. Even when they cut the lung off, he still kept smoking. He still kept smoking. And then he would do stuff like, I got 2 brothers, but my mom isn't their mother. He would go smoke, in the garage and stuff, and smoke around us. I go tell my mom. They wouldn't tell him, because that's their dad. She not their mom. I go tell mom, man, dude got a pack of cigarettes out there, man. He already got one lung, and she'll go off and tear cigarettes up. You know what I'm saying? But just not changing, man. Not changing. And see him go from one thing to the next, even to the point where they told him, if you don't start exercising, if you don't start riding a bike, if you don't start walking, if you don't start doing this and that, you're going to end up on oxygen. And he took it lightly, and he was taking a bunch of pills. Still smoked sometime. Still snuck him a beer. Still snuck him this and that. And I was, hey man, you need to quit playing. He lived next door to me. I had a treadmill, an exercise bike. Man, come on, man. Come over here, man, and walk on this treadmill real slow while I'm next to you, man. Start off riding the bike. Oh, no, I'm going to be cool, this, and this. And he didn't take it serious, and now he's on oxygen. He wouldn't change the way he eat. He wouldn't exercise. And now he's on oxygen where he has to live on it. He had to sleep with it. He had to take showers with it. If he take that oxygen off, if he's not talking, he got a good 3 to 5 minutes. But if he's talking, he got a good 2 minutes with having that oxygen unhooked. And we talking about a good 5 minutes if he's outside in fresh air. But if he's in the house, nah, man. But sometimes, man, we have to look at that, man, and then look at the way, and all this is programming, man. All this is programming. And seeing the way we deal with relationships, man, because sometimes, man, people don't want to accept this. Sometimes people want to reel you in to see what they could get from you. Like, because this is the program, this is the way of America, male and female. And see, sometimes you have people in relationships, men and women. They so used to being users, they're not looking for love. They're trying their best to not fall in love because I'm here to use. I'm here to be a manipulator. I'm here to be in control. I'm here to play with people. I'm here to be a heartbreaker. That way my heart isn't broken. I'm not here to be a good person. I'm not here to fall in love. And if they start the thought of love, when they start feeling some love, it scares them. Especially when they feel inadequate. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people end up in a relationship with a person who's not one of societal norms. Like, I wasn't joking when I told that sister that. Man, if I had a wife sitting around, or a woman sitting around, or they trying to get to know me and we had to sit down, well, what would you like me to cook for you? Oh man, you don't really have to cook for me like that for real. A couple of oranges, cut up an apple. How am I going to do that? How do I believe you're supposed to fall in love with my beef stroganoff? I whip up a mean chili 3-way spaghettis. my lasagna is tough. Most people eat my lasagna, all my past, man, that lasagna knocked them out. They lay down and be like, baby, I couldn't live without you in that lasagna. What am I going to do if I can't make you my world-class lasagna? Well, I probably would feel the same way they felt about you with a couple of oranges and an apple. You see what I'm saying? And vice versa. This programming, man, for societal norms, man. We so programmed, man, into things that's really detrimental to the way Allah Azza wa Jal created us to live. Even when it comes to relationships, man. Everybody want to be users. Wallahi, and I'm going to say this before I read the Quran ayats. I'm at work. It's this white girl. She messed with black men. Right? And another white woman is talking to her. We in the lab. Wallahi, man. True story. So she says to her, so what are you going to do about your electric bill? What you going to do about your power bill? She was like, because, they talking about, how your bills go up in the winter and this and that. So she was like, well, I'm hoping he's going to let me move in with him. But she don't like him like that. She done peeped he's a nice guy. She's not looking to fall in love with him. She's not really looking to have a relationship built off love. This love is going to be as strong and continue for as long as how much she can get out of him. A business transaction. And then what he get out of it. See, in situations like that, sometimes you have to look at the dynamics of the male and the woman. By her going into his place and him paying the power bill, she's going to have an issue with cooking and cleaning. Because she's cooking his food. She's cleaning his house. While she's trying to live off him so she don't have to pay no power bills. But if he get a house, they get a house together, although this is her coming into his house, and if she wasn't focused on being a user, they could possibly step into getting a bigger, better house. But she's worried about him peeping game because he's black, and she's talking about it with another white woman. So, but if he do that, then in exchange for him doing what he's doing, she'll cook and clean on her time when she feel like it. But she has no issue with it. Why? Because mentally she feel like she's cooking and cleaning her own house. So if she, you see what I'm saying? But although she's moving in where he's making her life easier so that she don't have to pay her power bills, she's reluctant because she's discussing this. Well, I ain't gonna do that. It ain't like we this and that. I'm just there, trying to get through the winter on it. So she's reluctant to do certain things. She want to do just enough to keep him on the hook so that she can get there. And she was even going even further because the lady said, well, what are you going to do after the winter time? And she said, well, if he isn't tired of me by then, because she went a little further because she started saying, hopefully he'll let me move in with him. And then she was like, I don't know about driving, because they do 12-hour shifts. So they do 4 12s, then they off 4 days and come back and do another 4 12s. But they rotate from night to days. So they first week, they do 7 in the morning to 7 p.m. 4 days off. They do that for 4 days, 12 hours. 4 days off, come back, then they do 12 at night to 12 in the morning. So she get to talking about, well, I'm hoping I can quit my job and stay with him because I don't want to have to get up and be warming up my car Who's gonna clean my car off if it snow at night? Like if we come at 7 at night, well, who's gonna clean my car off at 7 in the morning? I done worked 12 hours. I'm gonna have to go outside and scrape all the snow and ice off my own car. I don't want to have to shovel my own. I don't want to have to shovel my car out of the road to come to work. So hopefully, I can quit my job, because she's plotting and planning. But in her head, I'm going to get in. Hopefully he let me live with him so that I can quit my job. Or if I don't quit my job, he's going to shovel my car out of the snow, clean my car off before work. He's going to go put my gas in it. They talking about this. But I'm really not going to clean up and stuff around there, because I'm not going to be cleaning up after him. That's his house. So she was like, well, what about the other guy? This other little guy who, I guess she liked him. She was in love with him. But he don't put up with her foolishness. And he don't baby her. He forced her to be a woman. And she don't like that. He forced her to live life. Go out there and use your own brain. Because like I said, I listened to him. She was like, well, he's not going to do none of that. I'm gonna have to work. Even though he don't take none of her money, she get to keep all her money. He's just not gonna waste his money on her. You know what I'm saying? All the wasteful stuff she do, he not finna take his money and waste his money on her. So because of that, but instead of working with him and building something, and she actually like him and love him, he just don't put up with her stuff. But she finna go find this African American who she thinks a big goofy and try to live off of him and do as little as possible. And I'm sitting up listening to it like, wow. But these societies, but this is a lot of relationships is built off of that dynamic. Let me reel them in and get as much as I can up off of them. Let me reel her in and get as much as I can up off of her. And then, lo and behold, she thinks she done got a hold of another goofy, and then she get up in there and start falling in love, and he mess around and be too much man for her to handle. It's going to scare her to death. She's not looking for love. She's looking to be a user. And then, she got this little reputation around the job like she's a user. She's a manhandler. But I could see right through her face. She's soft as cotton. She's soft as cotton. The right individual will have her losing her mind because it's half gone already. She's going to lose her mind because she's going to be feeling like what I do to people, he can do it to me. You see what I'm saying? What I do to people, he could do it to me. And but this is what the society is built off of, man. The programming, man. We the way we come into relationships, the way we treat them, the way we eat, the way we live, man. Overspend, overindulge, overconsume. Be real low vibrational. All this go against the very life that Allah Azza wa Jal created us for. You know what I'm saying? And it was this black girl who worked there, and they used to be friends, see. And, she tried that little stuff with the wrong person before, another black guy. And she was sitting around work crying and couldn't do her job and all that stuff. Trying to play games, man. Trying to play games. Now she hooked. Oh, well, I'll just give him the cold shoulder. I'm going to show him. You ain't going to show him nothing. You're not a loss for him. You're not a loss for him. It's sad, man. But I just be wanting to share that type of stuff with y'all, man. Let me show y'all these Quran ayats, because man, hey, in society, man, we something else, man. But like when it comes to the food, so in Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat number 172, Allah Azza wa Jal tell us, O believer, eat from the good things we have provided for you, and give thanks for Allah if you truly serve and are a slave to Allah. Allah is telling us to eat right, to eat good, from the good things. Some of this stuff, we look at it, you eating good because you eating a whole lot of stuff that's keeping you full and it's tasting good, but it has no nutritional value. And it's cool. We're going to have our steak sometime. We're going to have our chicken. We're going to have our fried foods. But try to eat some fruits and some vegetables and different things more than that. If you're going, don't eat bad like that every day of the week and drinking a bunch of Kool-Aids and pops and sweet teas and all this other stuff, man, with a whole bunch of sugar. Just, like with my pops, man. Real talk, like my mom got a bunch of candy dishes around. She had to keep a whole lot of different candy around for him, and he'll just drink pop and eat candy all throughout the day. But it's every single day. Not even taking into account how much sugar he's putting into his body. And then because his blood is throwed, oh, well, I'm trying to keep my blood sugar up, so I'm going to eat a bunch of junk. Why don't you just eat right and fix that? How about just eating right? See, I got to have a whole bunch of sugar. I got to have these sweet teas. I got to have this. I got to have me some Kool-Aid. I got to walk around the house and eat all these candies. How about just eat right? And then they had, these things, man, be leading to a lot of health issues for people, man. People be having a lot of excess weight and, it's just not good, man. And I've been there before. I come from it. And once I changed and switched up, but me having some back and forth with it all my life, as a kid, man, because listening to the Goody Mob and conscious rappers and listening to the Nation of Islam about back in the day when we found out that beef, they was pumping beef with red dye just so it would look like it's bleeding while you cooking it. The Nation of Islam, and they got us off beef as kids. I stopped eating beef as a kid, man. So like even right now, occasionally, like some beef bacon, I deal with some beef bacon occasionally. I ain't gonna eat beef bacon once a week or every morning for breakfast and this and that. Occasionally I eat some beef bacon, and then I might eat like some beef kebabs from the halal Muslim place. You see what I'm saying? I don't fool with no beef, no ground beef. Occasionally, like sometimes, man, my mom might make some and I eat some, or somebody might make a little something, I eat a little bit of it. You know what I'm saying? A little bit of beef, but it's gonna be rare. I don't deal with no red meat like that. We got off that as kids, man. The pork and beef, that was a no-no for us as kids. And I'm talking about kids, man. 14, 15. We stopped eating beef and pork early, man. Real talk. And then when I got grown, by the time I got like 20, 21, I remember I was out of town and I didn't eat because I had stopped eating fried food. But anyway, I was out of town and I was at this sister house and there was some kids there, so they ended up cooking some steaks and some fries. And like I said, I'm out of town, I'm moving and shaking, I don't know the lay of the land. So I said, alright, I'm gonna eat the little beef and stuff. And when I ate the beef, I could just feel a whole bunch of grease in my belly because I wasn't a beef eater. You see what I'm saying? Like, we just have to be careful, man, what we consuming, man. So ayah number 2, Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 88. Eat of the good lawful things provided to you by Allah and be mindful. Have taqwa of Allah in whom you truly believe. Surah number 16, ayah number 114. So eat of the lawful and good food which Allah has provided for you, and be grateful for the grace of Allah if it is He whom you truly serve. to whom you're truly a slave to who you truly worship. Okay? And then in Surah Al-Baqarah, so eat of the lawful, all of humanity, so eat of the lawful and good food which Allah has provided for you, and be grateful of, wait, my bad, I read it wrong. I'm reading the top of it. So all of humanity, O humanity, eat from what is lawful and good on the earth, and do not follow the footsteps of Shaytan, because he is a sworn enemy to you. As in, Shaytan is a sworn enemy to you, but when you look at the hadiths, where the Rasul talk about the believer, how they do their stomach, 1/4 air, this and that, and then the kuffar, how they feel their belly and this and that, because they're following the footsteps of the Shaytan. Shaytan is tricking us into the overindulging. And man, when I tell you, man, and like when even with the sister, all the stuff she had in her cart, she wasn't done shopping. She had all these icings and this and that, but I was looking at other people's carts. I always do that when I go there. And people be looking at me strange because I always got a whole bunch of fruit and vegetables, stuff to clean them real good, to get all the pesticides and stuff off. And it be people looking at me like, because it's strange in this area, it's strange for them to see an African American, especially when I'm throwed up and stuff, eating like that. It's like it's weird to them. Eating right, eating clean, eating healthy is weird. You actually have people whose mindset is, there's no way I can eat like that. I wouldn't even be able to live if I eat like that. Not realizing you probably would live better. Some people don't understand low blood pressure, high blood pressure, low blood sugar, high blood sugar. These things affect the way you think. These things affect your mood. It affects your intelligence. Having cholesterol issues and aches and pains and different things going on with your kidneys and your organs, this stuff affects your whole life. People always tired, people feeling lazy, not having no energy, not having drain, drinking a whole bunch of sugary drinks, barely any water. May hydrate themselves, but then they still dehydrated on a deeper level because they don't drink any electrolyte type stuff, because they don't eat enough on a cellular level. They don't fool with the herbs and the fruits and stuff that hydrate you on a cellular level. So you drink water and maybe some Gatorades and things where you hydrate it through the throat, but on a cellular level you still dehydrated because you drinking your water at a point, because the way that our body absorbs water, if you drink it the wrong way, and if you detoxing and you drinking a lot, you just flushing a lot of it out. Some of it isn't absorbing. And see, when you look at the difference between drinking hot water and cold water, sometimes when you drinking cold water, the body doesn't absorb it. It doesn't absorb it like it absorbs room temperature water or warm water. So it's times when you should drink hot water, and it's times when you should drink cool water, because to control your body temperature sometimes. But it just depends on absorption. So sometimes people trying to hydrate themselves, but they really not. And then they just generally flushing out some of the minerals and stuff, the little bit of minerals that they may have in their body, because their food, the majority of the food that they eat on an everyday basis has no nutritional value. No vitamin A's, no vitamin B's, no minerals, no this, no that. Like natural vitamin E's and D's and all this stuff. Maybe a little bit of iron, maybe a little bit of protein, some carbs. But no nutritional, no real strong nutritional value. Allah didn't command us to eat this way, man. Society did, man. A lot of this stuff is a trick of the Shaytan. That's why a lot of these relationships don't work. That's why a lot of these friendships don't work. That's why it's more people sick than healthy. You know, it's just, man, it's ridiculous, man. But anyway, man, I'm my apologies, y'all, man, for babbling on. I'm finna go ahead and do what I gotta do, man. You know, man, may Allah be with us all, man, and help us all and guide us all. Because we need it, man. And when I tell you, man, when I talk to some Muslims, man, and Muslims, man, beheaded, and may Allah protect me from it, man. But Muslims, man, they headed to surgery. They got heart problems, kidney problems. It's just to the point, man, blood flow problems. Where, you know, like, and I'm not making fun of them, man. I know Muslims, man, who literally, like, every day, they have to look at charts to figure out what to eat. Because they've been eating too bad. And just eating wrong a little bit. They blood go this way or this way and everything, this and that. Because they've eaten so bad and just consume so much stuff in their body and don't really exercise and burn off a lot of the gook and don't drink, don't hydrate themselves properly to flush a lot of the gooks out of their body, don't get their lymphatic system moving. And they just have a lot of issues, man. Wallahi, man, you know, I pray for them all. You know, I pray for myself. I'm not the healthiest person, but I'm working and I'm doing things, man. The older you get, the more you should be more health conscious. Some of us, man, the older we get, the worse we get. And then we could look at a whole family tree of people that came before us that eating the way that they eat, it didn't work out for them. They may have lived long, but their quality of life wasn't the same. They couldn't do a lot because they overweight. They couldn't do a lot, man, because they may have been on oxygen. They couldn't do a lot because their knees might be bad. You know, they couldn't do a lot because their vision might be bad. They couldn't really do it and live the way they want to, man, because their heart might be bad. Or they might have fluid all on their joints and flowing, you know, just flowing through their system wrong. You know, due to the adrenals and their kidneys and their body filling up with water. You know, it's just unfortunate, man. And Allah tell us how to eat and what to put in our body, man, especially with the Quran and Sunnah, man. Allah knows best. We just need to do it, man. And I'm telling y'all, man, all this started, this really came, man, it's Tadabbur. This stuff really popped in my head from a sister coming up trying to reel me in. And yes, they did work their number. I'm just not telling all of the conversation by the end. They definitely worked their number. Trying to figure out I'm at to drop a plate off. Let me just drop a plate off. You still trying to force this 10 cheese macaroni in me when I'm telling you, man, I like raw fruit. So let's say if I did give you a chance, we're going to have a battle between you trying to force me to eat macaroni over some apples. Oh, well, if you really love me, you would eat this macaroni. Okay, well, if you really love me, you would cut me up an apple. We could do this all day. Oh, if you really love me, you have my bath water ready. Okay, and if you really love me, you have my bath water ready. We could do this all day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to try to force no apple on you. Because you want mac and cheese. I'll get you some mac and cheese. But, so it just let me see through the gate. See, you think you're going to overwhelm me. And you're probably just going to end up hurting your own feelings, man. And then blame me and talk about how bad of a person I am. Oh, you big meanie. Why, I'm a big meanie because I'd rather have an apple with some mac and cheese? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just unfortunate, man. It's just unfortunate, man. And, you know, like I say, just due to the programming of what gets a man and what gets a woman and how a relationship Who's supposed to have control? Who's supposed to run it? Who's supposed to get over the most? It's crazy, man. Anyway, man, assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, man. May Allah be with us all.